Ripple, Hedera, and XDC. These are three projects that I've talked about quite heavily on this channel for a very long time. And we're now starting to see some very big announcements happening around these three. And I feel like this is probably going to be something that does happen quite often now going forward. I think that we're going to start to see a lot of multi-chain collaboration. A lot of these crypto-based companies as well collaborating heavily. I mean, so far, Ripple and Hedera have been tied back to one another on multiple ventures around this space. And I feel like that's just going to become the norm soon. Because again, if we think about how big this space is set to become, it does require a lot of collaboration. And I think that that's exactly what's happening right now. So with that being said, welcome to the channel, everyone. My name is Nick. For those that are new to the channel, hopefully by the end of this video, you do become a subscriber. Let's dive on in. Let's talk about a few things because like I said, Ripple, Hedera, and XDC, these are three big projects in this space that are based around utility. Now, Ripple itself isn't a project, but they utilize XRP and the XRP ledger. And they have been really a big promoter of utility. They've always been pushing utility forward. I mean, even if we look at this tokenization page on their website, we can see that it's basically one big ad for XRP and the XRPL. And, as we do look at these three projects or these three companies, I mean, they have been three big names around crypto. And I think that these are three names that will be around for the next, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 plus 100 years possibly, because we know that, Hedera wants to become a 100-year company. If we're thinking about that, right, these three names at some point in time will cross paths. And we just saw that. Check this out from Generation Infinity. Breaking news. Australia's stablecoin AUDD launching on Hedera HBAR network in Q3 of 2025. Now, we did hear from Rob Allen from Hedera. Well, he used to work at Hedera. The Aussie financial year runs July through June. So FY Q3 is about Q1 calendar year. So Q1, this should be launching. Now, the testing was on Ripple's XRP-enabled on-demand liquidity for cross-border transactions, XDC Network AUDD partnership targeting trade finance and Fireblocks integration as well. These are the three main developments that we have when it comes to this stablecoin. Now, we also do know that there's connections back to Stellar. I want to bring that up because we do know that Navati did have some connections back to Stellar as well. But these three are the ones that are actually included in this PDF document, where we do have Navati's majority-owned stablecoin business, AUDC Party Limited, continued to strengthen AUDD's position as the leading Australian dollar-backed stablecoin. Testing was completed for AUDD on Hedera, with live deployment expected in Q3 of 2025, which is technically Q1. Ripple on-demand liquidity testing progressed, enhancing AUDD's cross-border transaction capabilities. New partnerships included an agreement with the XDC network for AUDD deployment on XRC20, targeting trade finance and custodial services with Fireblocks. Then, of course, on the bottom, we do see a few big updates just happening around the stablecoin itself. Now, I did mention how the stablecoin revenue increased by 60% in Q2. And that was like the big one. Outside of that, they were really kind of focusing on investing in compliance, infrastructure, and scalability without any further capital injection from Navati in terms of the AUDC stablecoin, which is independent and self-funded. But outside of that, AUDD is a big deal. And in fact, we know more about this because, Hedera did post, Hedera is proud to further drive the digitization of payments with AUDD Digital. Now, this was a partnership that did get announced back in September, actually, of last year. As you guys do know, if you don't, it's okay. We're excited to see that AUDD Digital from AUDC is leveraging the Hedera network to launch AUDD, the premier Australian digital dollar stablecoin, as a Hedera token service token. We greatly look forward to working with the AUDC to improve the efficiency, transparency, and accessibility of financial transactions domestically and internationally, specifically for cross-border payments and digital asset marketplaces. Now, if I actually go and look at the full-on announcement, there's a few quotes I just want to mention real quick, which was from the CEO of AUDC themselves. Launching AUDD on the Hedera network is a transformative step in our journey to revolutionize digital payments. The unparalleled speed and security of the Hedera network align perfectly with our goal to provide a stable and scalable solution for the digital economy. This partnership with the HBAR Foundation will enable us to extend AUDD's utility, offering real-time, low-cost transactions that meet the demands of modern financial systems, which is a very big, quote itself. Now we do have the mission statement here in terms of the actual stablecoin. So the AUDC, which is the company behind this, their mission is to improve the efficiency, transparency, and accessibility of financial transactions, both domestically and internationally, aligns perfectly with Hedera's capabilities. We also have the launch of a Hedera native AUDD stablecoin will support the growth of Hedera's growing payment ecosystem, from facilitating cross-border payments to global client onboarding onto digital asset marketplaces on the network. With Australia being a major exporter of agricultural and industrial commodities, as well as home to a sizable domestic payments market, a Hedera native AUDD has a strategic role to play in APAC and beyond. But this isn't just with Hedera, though. Right? We also have a few other players tapped in here, which is, for example, Ripple's XRP enabled on-demand liquidity, and then also the XDC network for trade finance, and even their Fireblocks integration. Now, if we think about this, right, we know Hedera has been a massive player in the Australian area. For an example, May 10th, 2024, they were holding a major event there in Australia, and this goes, like I said, back to 2024. Outside of this, we also had Hedera become a member of Blockchain Australia, and that goes all the way back to April 3rd of 2024. This is with Blockchain Australia. This is with the DEC Australia, which is the Digital Economy Council of Australia themselves. And what's kind of crazy about this, right, is that XDC is also a member of this. We have over here from August 21st, 2024, the Digital Economy Council of Australia, DECA, proudly welcomes XDC Network as a foundational partner. XDC Network, a global DLT blockchain leader, is part of our mission to drive Australia's digital transformation. This was a big announcement. But also, Hedera has been working with Australia for a very long time. Since going all the way back to 2021, when we first heard about FTPOS becoming a GC of Hedera. That was a big one. But then also we heard with FTPOS that they were creating digital-based cities with Hedera, which was a pretty substantial, news announcement. But we do know that Hedera has been based around the Australian market for a very long time. Now, also, we have over here from Sean of the XDC, which is a big player around XDC. Here we have a little clarification. This interpretation of the Novati Payments news here needs a slight tweak. The AUDD partnership is the integration, deployment, and listing as an XRC20 with their subsidiary AUDD Digital. Brilliant news for the emerging digital economy in Australia, and especially for the DApp launches on XDC coming through. The savvy move to join hands with XDC on this will enable financial institutions and banking entities like Australia's Novati to position and capitalize on the global transition to trade digitalization. That is increasing adoption towards paperless trade and TradeFi, sorry. Nice and juicy announcement imminent from XDC Network and AUDD. Stay tuned. So we're probably going to see an announcement over the next couple of days with this. Very exciting stuff, though. XDC being tapped in a big way, Hedera being tapped in a big way, and same with Ripple. Now, also, XDC, is kind of building upon their partnership with DEC Australia, or DECA, if you will. Now, this is continuing into 2025, supporting the Web3 peak professional bodies expansion into the digital economy in Australia with a key sponsorship of their landmark DLT-enabled summit. This summit is going to be very big. I might include this in an XDC video coming soon. But again, this kind of shows us that XDC is still working with, Australia and these big players behind Australia in a large way because of the value that they provide and because of how big the Australian market actually is. But, globally, this is a global move here, right? But I love to see these names being tapped in. I mean, even Ripple has been a part of a large portion of these summits in Australia for a while now, going all the way back to 2024. Yet again, here we have Australia Policy Summit with Hedera and 150 attendees. Some pretty big names were at this summit as well. Also, in November of 2023, going back 2 years almost, this week's APAC Policy Digest recaps Ripple and Medico participating at the Crypto Assembly in Sydney, as well as regulatory updates from RBA Info and a few other big names. But again, we continue to see a lot of moves being made around Australia. Now, in terms of Novati, again, if we go all the way back here to June of 2022, Novati is pleased to announce that its AUDC stablecoin will be available across multiple blockchain networks, which now includes the XRP Ledger. And again, this is the best way for launches because, again, it allows these specific networks, in this case, the XRP Ledger, XDC, and even Hedera, to be tapped in a big way. So very exciting stuff. And also, two screenshots here. So this is with the Reserve Bank of Australia and also the DFCRC. And this was their project report from August of 2023. Now, again, we're going back roughly almost 2 years ago now, but this was the Australian CBDC pilot for digital finance innovation. In this, we know two names mentioned, which is Hedera and also Ripple, in terms of the two main, crypto-based or blockchain-based projects. Now, there's a few other names on this list, but these are the two main ones that we know specifically. And what's kind of crazy is, Hedera and Ripple are now on a lot of these big documents. I want to bring up the fact that as we really look at some of the moves made with these players, it's kind of crazy to finally see things like this align perfectly and now start to see the light of day. I do think that we're going to see a lot more updates similar to this. I mean, we already know about the DREC Alliance with Hedera, and for those that actually don't know about the DREC Alliance, do a little bit of research because it's definitely interesting and it is enabling mass adoption of this tech. But that's also with Ripple, Hedera, Algorand. I don't think XDC's on there, but you also have Casper on there, Cardano. I mean, there's so many big names tied to that. And there's a few, integrations like that happening, or I should say collaborations like that happening around the space. We know Archix also, when it comes to like tokenization, is working with Hedera, working with Ripple, working with Algorand, and I also think XDC is tapped in with them. But these moves being made here is only to support the future here, right? Which is, finance. Finance itself is going to be digitized, and through a lot of these names like Navati, for an example, it's happening in real time, and you can see the big players being tapped in here, like for an example, XDC, XRP, and even HBAR. And these are, the companies that are really kind of starting to drive a lot of the innovation forward around this space. I mean, even as we do look at Hedera and you look at the actual ecosystem, I've mentioned this many times. You go and look at the Web3 applications, you look at the enterprise applications, like these are just like the Web3 ones. Guys, there's 6 pages here. But then when you look at like the enterprise applications, which is, companies in the Fortune 500 being tapped in, I mean, you start to kind of see the big picture being printed here for you. And Ripple, I don't think that I even need to mention this, but if you look at Ripple's, case studies, you look at the names tied to Ripple with a lot of these big banks. I mean, it's kind of crazy, but if we take a step back and we really look at what's happening here, we could see the big revolution happening. It's the largest revolution that we'll probably witness for the next 100 years, but it's everything around us changing. Everything moving on chain through tokenization services. I mean, even this stablecoin is basically, fiat currencies being tokenized on chain, and the big winners being mentioned here. So focus on these big moves, focus on the collaborations. There's going to be a lot more of these, in my opinion, this year, and I'm very excited for it. I'm very excited to see those happen because, again, this is exactly how this space moves forward. We have a ton of great projects in this space that can work in unison. So very exciting stuff. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments below, though. I'd love to hear your thoughts. If you guys did enjoy this video, definitely leave a like, subscribe to notifications on because more free content. You guys are more than welcome to follow me on Twitter and join the free Discord on the description below. And with that being said, guys, it's been Nick. Thanks for watching. Peace out.